All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. So the Celtics take the Game 6 loss, and the season's over. Warriors win the NBA Finals. And I guess I don't really have too much structurally planned for this video. I do have three things that I think kind of like rise to the top when thinking about what went awry for the Celtics. Why did they lose this series? Why did Golden State look like they could smack them? But I guess first and foremost, I don't hate Golden State. Yes, I'm so frustrated that the Celtics couldn't take this win, but I don't hate the team that they lost to. They didn't lose to a bunch of schmucks. I think at the beginning of the series, everyone was like, the Celtics are the better team. They're the better team. They have the better players. They're deeper, yada, yada, yada. I don't think that's the case. I think that Golden State proved that, honestly, they are the better team. Steph Curry, way better than Jason Tatum. Klay Thompson finally got it going. Draymond Green is a little bit, more of a feather ruffler than Marcus Smart. All these sort of combinations and correlations, I guess, that you can draw. The Warriors ended up being the better team. Now, yeah, the Celtics are young. I don't like that excuse. Like, the Celtics were there. They got there. They beat Giannis. They beat the Nets first round. They beat Giannis. Then they beat Jimmy Butler and the Heat. Like, the Celtics had enough experience in the past and showed that they had what it takes to be in the NBA Finals. So I don't love the, oh, they're too young, they don't have the experience, blah, blah, blah. No, honestly, weirdly enough, at such young age, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have such a crazy amount of experience for their age. So I don't like that excuse, but I do have three reasons why I feel like this ended the way that it did. But I did want to start the video being like, you know what? Golden State, probably just the better team. Sadly, hate to admit it as a huge Celtics fan, but, you know, when there's egg on your face, you got to acknowledge it and wipe it off. So Golden State, better team here. But honestly, I think that the first reason, number one, that it comes down to was the Celtics were not ready for this moment. Now, that's way different than the experience thing and everything like that. You could have years and years and years of experience and still get to the moment and be like, oh my God, I'm not ready for this. I wasn't prepared for how much this was going to weigh on me, how much I was going to think about it, how much pressure I'd be under. So this series, this game, this finals, the Celtics weren't ready for the moment. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown were in so many situations where they looked like they were absolutely just trying to stay afloat, stay above water and not drown. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit too with those two players in particular, but everyone on this Celtics team. There was times during every single game, except for probably when the Celtics had a couple games where they really were in control, but there were times during every single game in which the Celtics were like clawing just to stay in the game. And yeah, you know, they did that in game one and end up winning and winning by double digits, but think about the first half of that game. They were just fighting to stay in the game. They were not ready for the moment. And the top tier players on those teams, you know, Draymond Green, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, they came to play. They were ready for the moment. They were bringing on and embracing the moment, whereas Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were kind of figuring out their feet and learning how to walk in that moment. So again, it's a blurred line, but I don't consider it an experience thing. I consider it more of a moment thing. Like, obviously you can say, well, they didn't have finals experience. Okay, now you're splitting hairs. But the Celtics and Jason Tatum, everyone on that roster has enough experience in my book. Even if you just took someone that went through this finals run with them alone, they might have enough experience. Beating Brooklyn, the defending champion Bucks, the #1 seed Miami, they gained some experience. So I don't love the, oh, they're young and experienced. I will admit that guys got smacked in the face by the moment and probably the amount of pressure that was there. And the second reason I have, number two, would be the Celtics stopped doing everything that got them to this point. You remember back in the beginning of the year, the Celtics stunk out loud. They were terrible. I remember I put a futures bet in for them to win over 45.5 games. And, you know, in November, I was like, well, that's a loss. They were playing so poorly. I think they're like 25-25 at the time. I was like, that's a lost bet. And all of a sudden, they do come on strong at the end of the year because they started passing the ball, really playing defense, switching everything so appropriately, not having those sort of mental lapses on defense where, you know, example, Steph Curry goes around a screen and you go under it and it's like, oh my God, you just gave the best shooter of all time a free three, and it's like a free throw to him and he makes it. All these mental lapses that they had on defense, they didn't really, you know, come through and do that. No one played extremely well on the defensive end in these finals, except guys on the Warriors side of things. Maybe you could say Robert Williams, fine, I'll give you that, blocking a lot of shots, but in terms of rotations, the fundamentals, I know it's nerdy stuff, but the Celtics really stopped doing that. And on the offensive side of things, moving the ball, understanding that, you know, Jason Tatum is going to get double teamed and everyone rotates for him to make an easy pass, or Jaylen Brown, or or, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown going to the hoop and going and losing the ball. Like, where was that when they were making their run? It didn't exist. That was the basketball that existed at the beginning of the year. So number 2 is that they just stopped doing all of the things that got them to the successful point in which they were at, coming into the finals. And I will say, this season was a success in my brain. They fought back this whole season. Ended up being a bounce back performance, so I'm not mad at the Celtics. I'm not like, oh my god, trade Jason Tatum, trade Jaylen Brown. No, if you're one of those people being like, Marcus Smart needs to go, Robert Williams is never going to be healthy, Al Horford's an old head, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown can't play together, like, what are you looking at? These guys just took this team to the NBA Finals, in which they lost by a team that, again, is just so much better than them. So I don't fault them for that. Yeah, I'm frustrated that they lost, but you can't be like, oh my god, they suck, we gotta blow it up now. You're an idiot if you are now knocking Jason Tatum for scoring 13 points in the NBA Finals. Like, why? He carried them, he went head-to-head with Giannis in Game 6 there, an elimination game. Like, this is uncharted territory for a lot of these guys. And, in a moment where they couldn't really rise to the occasion, like I said in point 1 in the NBA Finals, there's a lot of moments where they said, you know what? We got this. So I think there's a lot of promising things. I think this season was a success. Yes, it was sad, maybe a disappointment, in the finals, because when you got there, I truly did believe they were the better team. Guess not. But I wouldn't say that this season was a failure or there's really any major moves you need to do now, and blowing it up and everything like that. But number 3 here, and this is the last point that I really want to drill home, and I'm gonna focus on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, is that they just started paying attention to the noise. Their post-game pressers and press conferences in general, their media, like, it was just so annoying to listen to. They're yapping about Draymond Green, threatening the Warriors. Yeah, you better watch out in Game 5. Talking about the refs, or Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown be like, I don't get those calls. I get to the hoop and I feel like there's 10 bodies on me every time, but I don't get those calls. Guys, play basketball. Play basketball. Why are you doing more work, it seems, in the post-game press conference than on the court? If I have to see Jason Tatum all next year go, it's like, come on, dude. You are a star, a superstar. Play basketball. Jaylen Brown, you want to take that next leap and be a bona fide star in this league? Play basketball. You're not going to get the Joel Embiid calls. And in fact, I don't think they get hit or fouled as hard as a guy like Joel Embiid. I get superstar treatment. I understand that. But you got to make an effort. Like, if I'm an NBA ref and Jason Tatum's constantly talking to me, and I mean constantly talking to me, I'm going to say, F you, dude. I'm not calling anything on you. You're not getting any special treatment. You're a prick. You're a 24-year-old kid. Like, what do you think you know? And these refs are humans. You don't think a ref's going to get annoyed at Jason Tatum constantly going, and he goes, like, his typical movements. You know what I mean? That's frustrating to watch, because even Marcus Smart, multiple times during that series, when Jason Tatum was complaining to the ref, Marcus Smart said, like, get back on defense, dude. They're not going to change the call 10 seconds after the call. You know what I mean? So that was really frustrating. And those are just like the black and white examples. In terms of everything else, like, I think they heard Draymond Green talking that smack, and it completely changed the series. I think they just paid attention to the noise too much. And, at this point, I guess it just is what it is. You can only hope that Jason Tatum's going to come back more mature. You can only hope that Jaylen Brown's going to do the same thing. But overall, those 3 things, not being ready for the moment, stop doing all of the things that actually were a success for them and got them to that point, and then leading by example. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are just yapping to the refs, paying attention to the press conferences, doing more talking off the court than on, not walking the walk, all that stuff. Maybe it's immaturity, maybe it's how they are. I got frustrated watching that. I'm sure you did too if you're a Celtics fan. But those 3 things, to me, it's like you put those into a recipe and you have yourself a cake of losses for sure. So I hope the Celtics will be back next year. I think they're going to be very good for a very long time. Like I said, I'm not totally down on this team, but some of these things, it's like, could have been an easy fix. Like, you keep playing the basketball that you played in the back half of the year, you probably win the NBA Finals, but you reverted back to what wasn't working. And Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, you can't keep thinking you're better than you are, or I shouldn't say that. Think you're better than you are all you want. I love the confidence. Don't think you deserve more than you deserve. The refs will call a foul if it's a foul. More often than not. I get it, superstar treatment, yada, 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 but these refs get paid to do what they do. Simple as that. So hopefully we're going to be back here next year, and I say we as a Celtics fan. Very, very inspiring season, and I think it's telling the Celtics team is going to be a beast in the East for a while. A couple teams they got to worry about, obviously. Teams are going to get better around them, but hats off to the Warriors. Speaking of the hat, look, check out this hat. Check out the Larry Bird Larry Bird All-Star Game jersey hat. Kind of fire. But, guys, it is what it is at this point. I already said that. I do think that, hats off to the Warriors. They played well. Steph, I'm proud to say that he got the Finals MVP. Clay kind of turned it around. Draymond, as much as I hate how much he talks, he did end up backing it up a little bit. And, Andrew Wiggins, shout out to him. He's a piece of garbage in other teams' minds. And all of a sudden, he's like, no, I'm going to go win an NBA championship, and had a phenomenal finals. So hats off to the Warriors. Shout out to the Celtics for getting to where they did. Like, I'm going to stay at least somewhat positive here. But a lot of negatives, and I think that they could have won that series. I'll say that. They could have won that series. I don't know if I would say that they should have, and I'm sure a lot of people disagree with that, but it is what it is at this point. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.